In this week, we learned about structural testing, meaning we try to derive good tests by looking at the internal implementation of our program. And to make sure we know where to stop or when it's good enough, we discussed a few ideas. The first and the simplest criteria was line coverage. At that moment, all we wanted was to have at least a single test passing through all the lines of our program. But quickly, we saw that that wasn't enough, or achieving 100% line coverage wasn't good enough. We then discussed branch coverage, and in there we wanted to have at least one test for each possible branch of our program. Branch coverage was already better, but we could still improve. Then we went for condition coverage. There we made sure to exercise each of the conditions separately. After all, one thing is all of them working together. Another thing is all of them working individually. We then went even further and discussed path coverage, which was the idea of actually testing all the possible paths of our program. But we then concluded that for many programs, achieving 100% path coverage can be almost impossible or just too expensive. Our final idea was to then think about all the combinations, but carefully choose the ones to test. And for that, we discussed MCDC, and all we needed was a truth table. Finally, throughout the week, we saw a couple tools that are able to measure code coverage. In particular, our IntelliJ, the IDE, and Jacoco, an external plugin that does it. You now know two different ways of thinking about test design. One is to look at requirements, analyze its different partitions and boundaries. The other is to look at the structure of our implementations and from there derive tests. Which one should you use? Hopefully at this point you notice that there's no silver bullet. If you want to avoid bugs, think about both functional and structural testing.